Most people think the Social Security decision is about choosing the best age to claim benefits, but actually, it often has much more to do with how the rest of the retirement plan functions afterwards. Because once retirement begins, that decision starts affecting your portfolio withdrawals, your retirement income taxes, your Medicare premiums, your survivor income planning, and long term flexibility. And that's why the real question usually isn't just should I take Social Security at age 62, which is the earliest, full retirement age, which is usually 67 for most folks, or the latest you can take it, which is age 70. It's actually more about what approach creates the strongest overall retirement plan long term. Because I've seen retirees end up with completely different long term outcomes, not because they invested differently, but because they coordinated Social Security decisions differently. I'm Chris Knight with Cornerstone Wealth Planning. I'm a certified financial planner and fiduciary advisor, and I've helped hundreds of clients over the last 20 years make wise decisions related to Social Security planning. And one of the biggest things that we help clients evaluate is how Social Security decisions fit into their bigger retirement picture. So, alongside taxes, withdrawal strategies, their investment approach, and healthcare planning, how does this provide for long term income sustainability? So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through some of the biggest trade offs between claiming Social Security at the earliest 62, full retirement age, which we'll call 67, or the latest you can claim, which is age 70. And I'll help you understand how each decision can affect your retirement planning overall. And if at any point you'd like help evaluating your own retirement plan and Social Security decisions, then I've included a link in the description where you can schedule a complimentary call with our team. Okay, let's start with the first major trade off that most people overlook. Trade off number one, benefit size versus portfolio pressure. Most people already understand the basic concept. Claiming at 62 reduces the monthly benefit while delaying it until 70 increases it. But what often gets missed is how that decision affects everything else. Because a smaller Social Security benefit usually means the portfolio has to work harder, which can lead to larger withdrawals, higher withdrawal rates, and more pressure on the investments in the early retirement years. And those early retirement years matter a lot, especially if the market struggles early on. Because once withdrawals begin during retirement, then we're faced with an extra risk called sequence of returns risk, and this becomes a major issue. Now, this is the risk of pulling money from investments during a bad market early in retirement, which can create long-term damage to the portfolio. And this is one reason delaying Social Security can sometimes make the overall plan more stable long-term, not just because the monthly benefit is larger, but because the portfolio itself may experience less pressure over time. Now, that said, there's certainly situations where claiming earlier could also still make sense. Trade-off number two, when claiming at 62 may create more sustainability. One thing I want to make clear is that claiming at 62 is not automatically a mistake. In some situations, it may actually improve flexibility and reduce stress on the overall retirement plan. For example, if someone's retired with moderate assets, limited cash reserves, and a fairly large gap between their spending needs and guaranteed income in those early years, it could make sense to take early. Now, if delaying benefits until 70 would force that person to pull aggressively from investments over that straight 8-year period, then the long term outcome could actually become less stable, especially if markets struggle during those early years of retirement. Now, in some cases, taking benefits early may reduce withdrawal pressure, preserve the investment assets, or improve cash flow flexibility during the transition into retirement. Now, obviously, health matters too, because mathematically, delaying often works best when someone lives well into their 80s or beyond. But retirement planning also has to account for your personal health, your history, your family longevity, and your quality of life priorities. And sometimes the mathematical optimal answer and the personal optimal answer are not always identical. And this is where generalized Social Security advice you may find online can sometimes become misleading when you look at it from a personal standpoint, because the right strategy depends heavily on What are your withdrawal needs? Understanding your taxes, your investment structure, your family circumstances, and your long term retirement goals. Now, before we keep going, if you're enjoying the video, just do me a quick favor, hit the like button. It really helps this channel reach more people who are approaching retirement and who are trying to make wise, informed financial decisions. Now, for married couples, there's another trade off that becomes incredibly important. Trade off number 3, survivor benefits will change the analysis here. So, for married couples, the higher lifetime earner with the higher benefit has a very different calculation to consider than a lower earner. Because when one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse generally would keep the larger of the two Social Security benefits. So if the higher earner claims early, then it permanently reduces that benefit. That reduction may also permanently reduce that survivor income benefit later. For many households, the surviving spouse may spend years, sometimes even decades, relying primarily on this survivor benefit. And this is one reason that delaying benefits, especially for that higher earner in the married couple, will make a lot of sense. Not simply because the check is larger, but because the survivor protection becomes so much stronger. Meanwhile, in other situations, there's certainly a situation where the lower earner may still claim earlier. And this is where claiming strategies become much more nuanced than just very general blanket statements, such as always claim early or always delay until age 70. The strongest strategy often depends on how the entire household plan fits together, integrated, coordinated, not one isolated rule. And if you're approaching retirement and trying to evaluate questions like this, such as when should benefits begin? How much can I safely take from the portfolio? How do taxes affect retirement income? How will all the moving pieces fit together over the long term? That is exactly what we help clients do every day at Cornerstone Wealth Planning. The link in the description allows you to schedule that complimentary call with our team where we'll help you identify potential risk, uncover these planning opportunities, and to see whether your current retirement strategy is actually working together efficiently long term. Okay, let's keep going. So, trade off number 4, the tax and Medicare implications. This is where Social Security decision starts affecting everything else. Because claiming age significantly affect everything else, such as taxable income, Roth conversion opportunities, even your Medicare premiums, and can also impact the future required minimum distributions. For example, someone delaying Social Security until 70 may spend several years living primarily off portfolio withdrawals. They may do Roth conversions or have taxable brokerage assets that they draw from. And in some situations, these lower early years, create valuable tax planning opportunities before larger income years begin later with income stacking on top of each other. But poorly coordinated planning can also create very unintended consequences. Large withdrawals or aggressive Roth conversions could increase Medicare premiums. They could push income into higher tax brackets, or they could increase taxation on the actual Social Security, which is why retirement planning rarely works well when these decisions are handled independently. Because the goal usually isn't simply minimizing taxes in one specific year. The goal is to build a retirement plan that stays flexible and efficient over time. This brings us to the biggest trade-off of all. Trade-off number 5, building the right claiming strategy. Now, one mistake people often make is searching for that universally best Social Security age that is across the board. But retirement planning usually doesn't work that way because sometimes coming earlier is better for someone, maybe has a shorter life expectancy, health issues, and early on cash flow needs, while delaying Social Security benefits later will help those with a married couple situation with a higher earner delaying and providing survivor benefits. And so there is no universal best Social Security age, and this planning will always work in the sense that it makes sense to look at your situation independent of all others, because sometimes claiming earlier improves the cash flow, Delaying may protect the surviving spouse, and these midpoint strategies, they could improve the tax flexibility overall. At the same time, you could also investigate split claiming strategies. These become more balanced, but also are nuanced with the household overall. So the strategy is usually the one that makes the retirement plan work better together over the long term, not the one that's just attached to the largest monthly benefit or the best combined benefit, but the one that matches in the overall integrated plan best overall. So when someone asks whether they should claim Social Security at age 62, age 67, or waiting till age 70, the real answer is usually not about finding this one correct age. It's about understanding the trade offs of each claiming decision and how they impact and affect every other area of planning. So, if you'd like help building a personalized retirement strategy around all these areas, Social Security, taxes, investments, retirement income, and long term planning, just click the link in the description. You can schedule a complimentary call with our team. If you found this video helpful, please be sure and like it. Subscribe to this channel, share it with someone you think maybe help as they make these important Social Security decisions over the next few years. At the end of the day, the Social Security decision is rarely about finding the perfect claiming age. It's about understanding how that decision affects the rest of retirement over the next 20 or 30 years. Because the strongest retirement plans are usually the ones where income, taxes, investments, and long term flexibility are all working cohesively together. Now, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.